Hey everybody, welcome to Studio 64. My name's David. I've been searching the interzones for some more science, space and tech news to share with you. And I came across this. It's Sputnik International. Yes, VIPER Rover cancellation throws future of US manned lunar missions into jeopardy. Oh dear. Let's have a look here. Right. Washington, NASA's decision to cancel its almost $500 million volatiles investigating polar exploration rover, or VIPER, project puts the entire Artemis program to land US astronauts on the moon for the first time in 5.5 decades at risk, analysts told Sputnik. Dear oh dear. Yes, the US Space Agency announced earlier that it was pulling the plug on the already long-delayed, problem-plagued project that had been presented as a crucial preparation for the ambitious and also delayed manned Artemis missions to establish a permanent American base at the lunar South Pole. Retired US Army Colonel Earl Rasmussen warned that NASA's decision, which was presented as a cost-cutting measure to stay within the agency's operating budget, puts the entire Artemis program and vision at risk. Yeah, budgetary constraints again. Now, this is going to open the moon up to the Chinese and the Russians. Interesting, isn't it? I think the entire Artemis program is at risk, Rasmussen, a political consultant and former vice president of the Eurasia Foundation, said. The rover and lander are key components and both have technical, schedule and cost challenges. Complex supply chains only complicated the situation more and increased overall risks. Yes, the Artemis program now urgently needs a detailed review to include its objectives, team participants, technical challenges, schedule, as well as costs, Rasmussen advised. Now, as usual, I'll leave the link to the main article below the video so you can pop in, check out the embedded links, go for a bit of a deeper dive. With articles like this, NASA admits costs for space launch system for Artemis missions unaffordable. Yes, cost issues were far from the only factors at work in the cancellation decision, and seriousness of supply chain production issues supply pain would be about right too, had not been sufficiently anticipated, Rasmussen observed. You think that NASA would have learnt from COVID, where with all the lockdowns, you weren't getting all your, imports, That's why a lot of it, I think, should be done in-house. It should be done on American soil. Fascinating, isn't it? Perhaps cost is a driving factor, but I think there are many more we are not aware of and that NASA may not be aware of. Of course not. They don't even know what they're doing themselves. Multiple supply chain issues are potential indicators of hidden technical development challenges as well. Supply chain seems to be very complex, and a thorough examination needs to be taken of what the underlying causes are. And this is a global issue, not just for NASA on a smaller scale. You need to get your manufacturing running in America so this all can be done internally. You just have your overseas backups for redundancy, but rely predominantly on local manufacturing. We need to do this in Australia too. Look at the car industry. General Motors and Ford and everything pulled out of Australia in 2017. We import all our cars now. The jobs that went with that, we've been making cars in Australia since the late 1940s. Gone. And it's just not right. We need to get manufacturing set up locally, whether it's Australia or the US. Now, the VIPER Rover was already 18 months behind schedule when the cancellation was announced, and more problems were likely before the rover could ever become operational, Rasmussen explained. Yes, testing challenges and delays. Now, Rasmussen mentioned that despite the completion of VIPER's development, testing challenges and delays are anticipated. In addition, he stressed the need for further inquiries to resolve many outstanding questions. Many of the problems plaguing the project appeared due to poor advanced planning and over-optimistic reliance on individuals or far too few companies to manufacture the components, Rasmussen noted. Yeah, but it's got a lot to do with DEI too, diversity, equity and inclusion. I don't care, and as I've said in previous videos, you can identify as a non-binary transgender wombat on Thursdays. I don't care. Be an aerospace engineer first. Look what's happened with the Boeing Starliner, as I call it, the Boeing Star Lemon. DEI has to have a lot to do with that. And people go, David, you're a racist, bigoted, fat bastard son of a bitch. I don't care. You want to be a blue-haired weirdo? That's fantastic, right? I'll celebrate down the pub with you after work on a Friday, and we'll have a drink together to celebrate your bloody whatever identity you've got. That's fine. Just don't take it to work. Be an engineer first. Be a customer service person first, right? Be a manager first. Don't let identity politics run how companies and organisations, don't let them run the organisation. We're seeing it now. Harley Davidson's having a big bloody, has got problems at the moment. They've got a German CEO, I think it's the CEO in there. He is so woke, it's incredibly ridiculous. You are undermining your customer base. You are destroying it. You saw it with Bud Light. Harley Davidson at the moment, for example, you've got 100-year-old Harley Davidson dealerships and ones that have been going since the 50s as well. They're all shutting their doors because Harley Davidson says you have to be woke. I mean, you're losing family businesses, your employment. People are being thrown out in the streets. Why? Because it's the current thing. That's ridiculous. And this is what's happening. I can guarantee you this is what's happening inside of NASA at the moment that you saw with Star Lemon, and now you're seeing it here with the Artemis project. It's under a direct attack because of complete incompetence and bloody DEI. As I said, diversity is great. That's fine. But make sure the diverse staff that you have are qualified and competent. Skin color is irrelevant. Sexual orientation is irrelevant. All right? When it comes to people's lives, you've got 2 astronauts at risk up in space at the moment because they can't get back. All because of this ridiculous DEI and completely stupid bloody red tape that they have, right? We have to be politically this and policy and procedure that. I understand there has to be health and safety policies and procedures, but you are saying you don't want people to be safe. No, what I'm saying is I want people to be safe, but you're using that as a cover to push your identity politics. Identity politics is dangerous, right? I've worked with people from all backgrounds, all races, colours, creeds, whatever you want to call it, right? But these people I work with were competent. They were great people, right? The colour of their skin and what they do in the bedroom has got nothing to do with how good they are at work, okay? And they are good people. But you need to have competence in there first. After they're getting things around the wrong way. Celebrate diversity. Celebrate difference, right? But keep that separate. Compartmentalize that and make sure that your fundamental necessities are covered first. Make sure that the Boeing Starliner works. Then you can celebrate diversity. Make sure that your VIPER, in this case, development, isn't hindered by DEI. Once you've got VIPER up there doing its thing on the moon, then you can celebrate all the diversity that got it there. But don't celebrate the diversity first. Make sure your fundamentals are down pat to start with, okay? Canadian economic historian and industrial analyst Matthew Eddett, Vice President of the Rising Tide Foundation in Montreal, warned that NASA's decision to cancel the rover was part of a momentous retreat from technological development and exploration that would have dire consequences for America's future. Now, the cancellation of the already constructed rover represents not only a failure in vision or any long-term thinking that may have given the decaying republic any viability, but also a failure in understanding the basics of economic value, he said. Now, in reality, the United States was already admitting defeat in a technological race that would determine the future of the human race for centuries to come, Eddett predicted. And that human race includes everybody, whether you're white, black, brown, pink, green, Asian, whatever you are. All right? It's ridiculous. We're all one people. We're all human. For goodness sake, get the details right first. Celebrate everything else later. It's fascinating. And here's another one. NASA unlikely to land humans on the moon in 2026 due to bureaucracy. Now, bloody red tape. and the bloody DEI that's woven through it. It's frustrating. NASA had now written off nearly $500 million on a project that was vital to the survival and spread of the human race, Eric charged. Moreover, NASA announced justification for selling off the rover for spare parts did not make any business sense, he noted. Spare parts for what? Another rover? Or to a microwave company? What the hell are we talking about here? So who's going to, sell off? You're going to sell off the rover to who? The Russians and the Chinese? The bits? What's happening? It's completely nuts. It's completely and utterly insane. American taxpayers should be absolutely ropeable over this. As I said in the previous video, we have the same problem in Australia. It's a global issue. Government money gets wasted on projects like this instead of completing them. And it frustrates the living daylights out of me. American University in Moscow President Edward Lazansky, a former Soviet nuclear physicist, added that many of the design and engineering problems plaguing the rover and other key elements of the Artemis program could have been avoided or efficiently resolved already if the Biden administration had not rejected any prospect of cooperation on the project with the Russian and Chinese space programs. Now, NASA's original plan called for VIPER to reach the lunar surface in December of 2022, adventuring across miles of lunar territory for a 100-day period and also using its 4 science instruments, including a 1-meter drill, to gather soil samples across a range of light and temperature. Yeah, it's absolutely... It's frustrating. As I say, American taxpayers should be very, very angry over this. You've wasted how many millions of dollars on this, or billions of dollars on the space program overall? And now they're cancelling stuff left, right and centre. Absolutely and positively disgusting and typical at the same time. I'm just glad to see that NASA can multitask. Fascinating, isn't it? Boy, oh boy. Not good at all. All right, well, my name is David. Thanks for joining me for another Studio 64 Science, Space and Tech News update. I shall see you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe. Greatly appreciate it. And if you're up for it, drop a comment down below the video. I'd love to hear what you think. All right, take care. And as I always say, if you can't be good at it. And as I also always say...
Did IQs just drop sharply while I was away?